how to get your first clients when you are starting out and you've yet to prove yourself, you don't have experience. There's no reason why someone should take on your service, whatever it is that you're learning, whatever skill or product or service to get your first few customers, especially if you're looking for whale customers, is very challenging. But that was my objective. When I was 17 or 18, I forget now, I was reaching out to dozens of people per week looking to work for them for free, looking to apprentice myself, looking to pay people to work for them. My first job that finally worked, I went completely overboard. I got this guy George Gamen's logo tattooed on my leg. For my first ever time on a plane, in my entire life, I was 18. This guy was having a party in Arizona and said, if anyone wants to come, you can show up. So 1 week before, I got his logo tattooed on my leg, flew across the country on my first time on a plane to go meet him, show him the logo, and started working for him. That is a super extreme example. But the next two clients that I got that I still have today that I can talk about were also from very unique ways that most people would never ever think of. So I started working for George doing macroeconomic research, but I was also making videos. And there was this guy in the space that was friends with George named Jeff Snyder. And most people here would never ever hear of him, but he is like the Michael Jordan of banking and economics. Literally the GOAT, the best of all time. And I wanted to work for this guy. So what I did was I put a picture of him on my wall, literally right here. And I would make videos every single day with him on my wall, and I was making macroeconomic videos. And then I would go on George's channel sometimes because I was running that. You would see the Jeff Snyder poster on my wall. And so everyone would bust my balls and start to tag Jeff Snyder because it was very unique. What 19, or at the time I might have been 18, doesn't matter. What sub 20-year-old kid is going to have this economist on his wall as a poster? And so that started to get a lot of traction, and eventually it got Jeff's attention. And I said, Jeff, I want to come and meet you. I'm going to drive. I was back in Boston. This was a multi-month process. I was living in Arizona for almost a year, really learning from George, doing macroeconomic research because I finally found someone to apprentice myself under, but I got pretty good at how to grow social medias for George, and then I helped a bunch of other people in the space. But I really wanted to work for this guy, Jeff, because I believed in his messaging, I had his product, I believed in it, and all he needed was a better strategy, in my opinion. So I got Jeff's attention, and I said, Jeff, let's get dinner, please. So he was like, I'm free next Tuesday. So I drove, with my buddy Justin from Lynn, Massachusetts to Florida. We drove all the way there to get dinner with this guy. And then I was like, Jeff, please, I'm not going to charge you $1. All I want to do is take over your channel, and because I want to show you better results. So I did that for 1 week, and his channel literally doubled in 1 week for the amount of views that he was doing from the last month. We completely doubled it, and I crushed it because I had a very high degree of confidence. And then he said, Josh, what do you want? And I said, I don't want a single dollar. I just want a profit share of whatever I generate you. And so that was a few years ago. And now Jeff is by far the highest paying client because I was never looking for a fee. I was looking to provide value, and over time that has accrued into a substantial amount of money. The third client, and the third a unique way I've got a very large client, was my first time I started working for a billionaire client. This guy has a 10,000 unit real estate company, and he is friends with George Gamen, the first guy I started working for, where I got his logo tattooed on my leg and harassed him. But this guy, I knew that I was going to go see him because George was going, and I said, George, I'm coming with you. I was like, at that time, if George was going to some sort of conference or he was going somewhere fun that I thought would be a good opportunity for me to learn and gain hands-on experience, I would just tell George, please, what do I have to do to go? And I would fine paying for it. I was fine paying my entire monthly wage to go wherever George was going for a better opportunity to learn. And I knew that he was going to see this guy, Kenny McElroy. And I was like, all right, sweet. So I cooked up a plan. And I was making YouTube videos at the time on my channel, Joshua Lassard, where I said how I was going to go from like $10,000 to $50,000 per month or something like that. A long time ago on a different channel. I think that was like 2.5, 3 years ago when I made that video. And that was before I really grew the business that we have today. I was going over how I was going to close Ken McElroy. And It was first I was going to go up to him and say, dude, your YouTube channel sucks. That's a pattern disruption, but also when you're a guy like Ken that has a multi-billion-dollar company, he has 300 employees. Now Kenny's one of my best friends. But what happens when you get to that position? People just start to suck up to you. It's just what happens. You get treated like a 10 out of 10 smoking hot girl, where everybody's laughing at your unfunny jokes. They are just treating you differently. It just happens. It happens to really large business guys because their employees are concerned with job safety and they all just want to make their boss look like geniuses. So I told Ken, dude, your channel sucks. He was like, oh, okay, well, what should I do? And I said, well, here's the 5 things that you should do, blah, 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 blah. And here's what I would do for you. He said, okay, well, let's do this. I said, okay, I'm not going to charge you anything. I just want to learn from you because you have the business that I want. You are operating a multi-billion-dollar company and we're in the Bahamas right now. So I want to be able to do that too. So he said, I said, oh, how about just a pure profit share of anything over what I can generate you? I just want to come and be in person to where I can learn how to operate a business. That was a while ago. So I started working for Ken and really learned how to grow a business. And now we have some of the biggest clients in the name. And I would say we built the best team in the entire world and we're running it more like a business. And I use this channel to actually get inbound talent to where we can hire people as part of the company, which is awesome. It's like the best situation in the entire world. But the key is when you're young and you're looking to work for someone that is much more successful than you, you have to do something very unique. I mean, those 3 examples, they were all exceptionally unique. The first one, I would never expect someone to replicate. But before I started working for George, before I got the tattoo, I was reaching out to dozens and dozens of people per week for 8 months. That is a long period of time when you're going through it. And so I'm telling you, cold outreach doesn't work. Hyper-personalized outreach does. And just saying some sort of ChatGPT message is not going to get you anywhere. Sometimes it takes thinking unique. It takes thinking like a marketer and taking an approach that otherwise wouldn't work and making it work. Doing something that most people would not think of is setting yourself up for success. And so I'm not saying to get a tattoo. I'm not saying to put a picture of someone's wall or start to go up to people and tell them they suck at their job. I'm just saying that the more unique of approach you can take, the higher the likelihood someone's going to give you a chance. And so for me, those were 3 clients that all 3 of them has changed my life to some degree. And we're continuously scaling now, and it's turned out to be the best decisions ever. But it started with what seemed risky at the time. I mean, for me, it was a no-brainer, but to other people, it seemed risky. But when you have a high degree of confidence in yourself and you know that what you are going to do is going to work, then it's not really risky. So now we're going to continuously grow the largest social media marketing company in the entire world. 24 months from now, I guarantee you, we will have the largest company, both in terms of the amount of clients, the size of clients, and from a revenue basis. That's just the trend that we're going on, and it is exciting. We're also just operating and starting new businesses within the main to vertically integrate and to scale successfully. But all of that happened from taking some risks and working for people substantially more successful to where I could learn a lot more about business. And that has been the best decision of my entire life, which has allowed me to be so lucky. And I would highly recommend anyone else if they had the ability to do something like that, because you don't know what you don't know. And being able for me to work with guys that have multi-billion-dollar organizations, like a lot of our clients now, it shows what we need to do to scale very much quicker than if we were just bootstrapped from zero knowledge.